Hey everyone, welcome to Mysteries in Crime. I'm your host, Melissa Thompson. Today is Tuesday, November 16, 2021, and we have some new updates and some history on Heidi Planck. She is the missing California mom who went missing on October 17th, 2021. After she attended her son Bond's football game, her ex-husband Jim was there, at Jim Wayne, and he said that her behavior was odd and she seemed edgy at the time. Well, dailymail.co.uk has released some new information. Now let's go over a little bit of how they break this down. So we know last week new security footage showed Heidi Planck walking her dog near the Hope and Flower building in downtown LA hours before she disappeared. So on October 17th, remember where her dog Seven was found on the 28th floor? The law enforcement released footage that Heidi was there. She did not have her purse with her, but she had her dog Seven. She seemed to be carrying a mask in her hand, and she had taken the sweater that she had wrapped around her waist from earlier that day and put it on. Now, also, Daily Mail has released that there were child custody issues between Heidi Planck and Jim Wayne, which we did not know about previously. According to the documents, Heidi had a history of drug use, psychotic breakdowns, and bizarre behavior. Ex-husband James Wayne requested custody of their son in 2015 and a declaration claiming he feared the boy was in, quote, immediate risk of harm from Planck. He also said his ex-wife has a history of acting out in volatile ways and that she once checked herself into a psychiatric facility in October of 2015. He also recalled one incident when she trashed their 4-year-old son's bedroom before jumping out the window and climbing over a fence. Neighbors called cops who found Heidi Planck in a nearby backyard, partially clothed, shutting an electrical circuit breaker on and off. Wayne was awarded full custody of their son, who is now 11, last month after filing documents in Los Angeles Superior Court 6 days after she had disappeared. So now we were all wondering why he went and filed for full custody. And it wasn't known at the time that they were having these custody issues, because it seemed that Jim was very concerned for his ex-wife, and he had nothing but good things to say about her. But these new allegations coming out, now, mind you, this goes back to 2015, but it does explain some, discrepancies, that she wasn't just, a normal everyday mom. She was suffering from mental illness. Not that that is anyone's fault. She was also, this is by Jim Wayne, he said that Heidi was addicted to the stimulant Adderall. He said she went to 3 different doctors for this prescription, 2 of which she paid in cash so it wouldn't get flagged by the insurance company. So that's one of the new things. The court documents explain about the Adderall abuse, the psychotic breakdowns in which involved their son, Bond. According to a statement from her ex-husband, Jim Wayne, Planck once trashed her then 4-year-old son's bedroom before jumping out the window and climbing onto a neighbor's roof semi-naked. This was after she had told him she had to leave a Rite Aid because it was too intense, and repeatedly tried to feed him a plate of bacon as he was driving her home. That was her former husband, Jim Wayne. Jim Wayne made the statement in 2015 as part of a bid to gain custody of their son, who turned 11 on November 4th of this month. Jim Wayne also described an incident where Heidi was playing with their son Bond, and he had one of those Nerf guns, like the little pellets, and she took down her shirt to show her cleavage to have Bond shoot the Nerf pellets into her cleavage. And when her ex-husband walked in on them, she quickly took a piece of cardboard to cover up her chest. So that was another thing that has come out about it. And there seemed to have been a lot of trouble brewing between the former couple over their son. He thought his son was in danger being around his mother. However, he did want Bond to have a relationship with his mother. It's just that he didn't want her to have partial custody. Now, we do know that her job is part of this whole mystery here. Camden Capital Partners and Jason Sugarman, her boss, is under investigation for a $43 million fraud scheme. And remember, she's the controller, so she knows where all the money is going in and out of. And now we found her dog. Jim Wayne had her computer. He had one of her cell phones, and apparently the other cell phone she owned is still missing. So those have not been recovered. But you guys, where in the world is her Range Rover? It just seems baffling to me that hasn't come out. Now, Jason Sugarman was ordered to forfeit $80 million. Oh, this is his partner, was ordered to forfeit $80 million when he was sentenced in September 2020. And his name is Jason Galanis. He is currently serving a sentence of more than 15 years in federal prison in San Pedro, California for multiple frauds. So she knew a lot of what was going on in that business. But was it a mental breakdown that caused this? Like, is that what was causing her to act on edge? Now, if she was still using Adderall, that would explain her edginess, I believe. Now, remember, these allegations are back from 2015. It's 6 years later. So we don't know, because we can't talk to Heidi, what her side of the story is. But the court documents are very telling. And it's just surprises me that Jim Wayne didn't mention any of this prior. Jim Wayne said he feared his son was in immediate risk of harm from Heidi. He said that she had checked herself into a psychiatric facility in October of 2015. But on the second day there, she called him acting, "Can you please take me home?" She said, quote, "I am in a scary place and they are S.A.ing me." When he asked her why she felt that way, she replied, "Every time I sit down to pee, I have to poop." Now, they didn't know why it was coming out that she was blaming that on S.A., but, she was in there for a reason. She then proceeded to ask her ex-husband, Jim Wayne, why she had a C-section scar, because she did not have any children. So she completely forgot about having a son. He took her and their son home after he went to pick her up, but before he could get home, she called and asked them to pick them up from a restaurant. When I got back, she was standing outside with our son, holding a full plate of bacon. The entire drive back home, she was offering bacon to me repeatedly and seemed slightly intoxicated. So I'm wondering if she is using other substances. And I'm going to take better pictures of the court documents, and I'm going to put them in my community tab so you guys can look at them and read them yourself. When they got to his house, Jim Wayne, who is a hairdresser, said he went to watch football on the TV while his ex-wife and son went into Bond's room. About an hour into their being in the room, I heard a very loud thud and crash. I didn't think to go in the room to check because our son was laughing and I could hear that he was okay. But half an hour later, Bond came out and I showed a picture of his room. He was very excited and looked a little guilty and said, "Dad, you have to come see my room. My mom made a mess." Wayne went into the room and he said it was in complete chaos. And that's when she jumped out of the window and ran partially clothed to a neighbor's yard, turning their circuit breaker on and off. Now, Heidi and Wayne married back in 2008 and divorced 4 years later after the birth of their son. In other papers filed in 2016, Wayne said his ex had a history of acting out in volatile ways. He said his son liked to play with a Nerf gun, and I told you that story, which was shocking to Jim, certainly. Also, Heidi took one of those Nerf guns and hit him right in the eye, like shot the Nerf gun and hit him in the eye. And when the boy got very upset about this, Heidi then said to him, "You should have had your mask on." At Christmas of 2015, Wayne took the boy to a Fat Burger. He told me that we couldn't be there because the last time he was there with his mom, they were kicked out after she had torn pictures off the wall and thrown them on the floor. She also hated that their son did not pay enough attention to her, once completing a Lego building with him and then throwing the finished project against the wall. She attempted to make up for that by being more of a friend to her son than a parent, Jim Wayne said. In 2017, when their son was 6, she and the boy were playing with the Nerf guns, and that was the cleavage story. And Jim Wayne said, "I find this very inappropriate." When she saw me looking at her doing this, she immediately held up a cardboard paper in front of her. When the boy asked her to put it down, her response was so incoherent and irrelevant to their discussion that I noticed how odd she was being. That wasn't the only time that her conversation veered off in weird directions, according to her ex-husband. When the boy told her that he wanted to stop playing Legos and have a Nerf war, she replied, "I had spaghetti next week." So definitely very strange behavior. And when the boy asked her on the phone to bring his Nerf gun, she replied, "You want me to bring over a baby?" She consistently changed what he said in the call in order to answer any of his questions. He got so frustrated that he ended up hanging up the phone. Wayne said his wife was addicted to the amphetamine Adderall. Wayne made it clear during the custody hearings that he wanted his son to have a relationship with his mother, but he objected to anything other than monitored visits. He said, "I feel her conduct has not shown that she has reached a level that keeps our son out of harm's way." The couple fought for years over who should have care of their son. Since 2017, they have had joint custody. But Wayne was granted full custody after his ex vanished. In court papers, he said he needed to put his son into therapy because he is extremely distraught at his mother's disappearance. We are at the point where we have to expect the worst, and accordingly, I am requesting full legal and full physical custody so that I can legally enroll the boy into therapy immediately. This is an emergency. If we hear from authorities that Heidi has been kidnapped or has died, I fear that the boy will be extremely distressed and inconsolable beyond his current mental state. I really want to put him into therapy right away to help him cope with whatever news may come our way. So that is a little bit of history on Heidi Planck. And that is filling in a lot of blanks to me. As I mentioned in other news articles, a lot of news articles have been shining the light on Jim Wayne. And this is starting to put a little fuel to the fire here because now we know they had custody issues. And 2 days after she disappears, he files for full custody. And knowing that they were fighting in court. Now, I'm not saying Jim did this because there's a lot of wild things going on in her life. And remember, she shut the locations off of her Apple Watch, her laptop, and her phones. So nobody has been able to locate her through that. And in her Range Rover, the GPS was never set up. So there's no way of tracking the vehicle that way. So is it possible that she just took off? I mean, we do know that she sent her boyfriend text messages saying that she was scared. Was this all in her head? Was she having some kind of breakdown? Or is something more sinister at play? Remember, there are multiple players in this story, including Heidi herself now. I'd love to know what all of you think about this information. And remember, I will have all the documents in my community tab so you can all read them. I hope you all are well and having a beautiful week. And I will talk to you all very soon. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.